Thank you very much, Mr. Chair and Ranking Member Johnson, for this hearing. I want to thank the witnesses for being here, for your service, and for your willingness to speak out about such a critical issue for so many of our servicemen and women and their families. I am deeply concerned by the testimony we have heard today and the impact that similar conduct may have on my constituents. New Hampshire is home to Portsmouth Naval Shipyard, and the shipyard's nearby private military housing is also managed by Balfour Beatty. So, Ms. Christian and Ms. Warner, you have talked about this a little bit just now with Senator Carper, but how widespread is the misconduct by Balfour Beatty and other private housing contractors?
You will see it at every installation you go to. So 55 Balfour Beatty installations, I cannot come up with one where I haven't seen an issue with work order closures prior to completion or any type of mistreatment of military families.
Thank you, Ms. Warner.
I agree. It's widespread all over every base that is managed by Balfour Beatty. Work orders will remain open for months at a time, and ADA accommodations are not properly addressed for special needs families, disabled families.
Thank you. I'm going to follow up on that last point in just a minute, and I appreciated the testimony just now to Senator Carper about why things haven't gotten significantly better since the 2020 NDAA provisions, and we'll follow up with you on that as well. I want to go, Sergeant Torres, to a different issue. Your bad experience happened just last year, more than a year after the passage of private military housing reforms in the fiscal year 2020 National Defense Authorization Act. I want to dig into your experience to better understand what additional actions Congress may need to take. In your testimony, you said that Balfour Beatty misclassified your work request to address mold in your home as another type of repair, such as carpentry. To your knowledge, did the work order system retain any information about your original classification of the repair request as a mold request instead of a carpentry request?
No. So when we originally look at the report, it would be classified as something that's in there, and then maybe a day or a couple weeks later, the title will be changed. In terms of my background, I'm a HVAC technician, heating and air conditioning technician. So I'm working on work orders all the time, and I'm able to track and look at these kind of stuff. And I know for a fact that if a customer puts in a request for a work order, the title should not be changed, and it should not be closed before completion.
Right.
You always have to verify, hey, did we fix it? Is it actually fixed? If not, then you're going to have to reopen. If it's closed, then you reopen the same work order. At least this is how it's done in the Air Force. We reopen the same work order, not close it and then open a new one.
Right. So I just want to confirm here. You are saying that no matter what you put in your initial work request, in your experience, Balfour Beatty was able to change the final record, classify the request as they preferred, and say whatever they wanted in the request record.
Yes, like changing the title, even the date was open, date was closed, any remarks and all that stuff. We have screenshots of report histories of it being one thing and then the dates and everything be changed on another, and it would never match up. Okay. Even to this day, the work orders are still being changed, and I even received text messages that saying work orders being closed out, even though we're being displaced for 12 weeks. It's saying that the work order was still closed out weeks before.
So I want to follow up on both what you just said and what you just said about closing out the work orders. You have said that the work orders would frequently be closed before the work was complete or satisfactorily addressed, or that work orders would be closed after superficial fixes were complete, but without addressing the root problem, resulting in additional work orders later on. Did Balfour Beatty ever give you the option to keep work orders open when you did not believe the issue had been adequately addressed? If yes, were you pressured to close those work orders at all?
No, we didn't have any control over if the work order was closed or if we can reopen it or not.
Right.
That was just pretty much all they would just tell us is just open a new work order.
Okay, so that is really deeply troubling. It's really concerning. Work orders are there to help residents get their problems fixed, as you've pointed out in your own experience as a technician. And if a resident doesn't believe the work order was adequately addressed, they should be able to keep the work order open until it's been completely addressed. Ms. Warner and then Ms. Christian, I want to turn back to you on the issue of families with disabilities. In both of your written testimonies, you highlighted the struggles that military families with disabilities experience when trying to request legally protected accommodations from Balfour Beatty. This includes requiring excessive documentation to prove the disability, making it extremely frustrating at best to request accommodations. What, if any, information does Balfour Beatty give to potential residents about the process to request legally protected accommodations for military family members with disabilities before they decide to live at a Balfour Beatty residence? Are you aware of any standardized process for requesting accommodations? And I'll start with you, Ms. Warner.
Currently, there are no standards that Balfour offers to families. They report to us often that they will ask for excessive things such as full-blown medical records.
Right.
And there is no even just a standard form that the medical provider can sign to state that the family has the need for ADA accommodations or special needs requests. There is a medical waiver that can move the families up on the wait list if they are waiting for an ADA home or just a one-level home, but they are discouraged from using that waiver.
Okay. How are they discouraged?
So I can tell you personally, our family is going through that process right now, and the regional manager assured us that if we sign that waiver, that every military family that has been waiting on a house in that neighborhood, if we moved ahead of them, they would come after us.
Wow. Ms. Christian, anything to add?
I would just like to add that we as an organization follow what the Fair Housing Act says and how families should provide medical documentation. Like there's no real way for them to do so, so we follow what federal law is. And even when providing medical documentation from physicians stating that there is a disability, what the accommodations requests are, those are still denied by local levels, and requesting more information, which is just a violation of their civil rights.
And it is really disturbing that a contractor for the United States military that is supposed to be there to serve the men and women who serve all of us and keep us safe and their families is not complying with long-standing federal law. And there are plenty of examples of how to meet the accommodation needs of families with disabilities. This is not new. This is often quite straightforward. And I would look forward to continuing to work with all of you to ensure that we make significant progress here and that one of our contractors follows the law of the land. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Hassan. I'm going to yield myself an additional 7 minutes. Other senators may be en route to ask questions of this panel. Captain Cho, I want to return to your story for a moment. Take us back to the summer of 2020. As you testified earlier, you've been instructed by Balfour personnel that you should submit your request